It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Now I've built this video as UK versus America in terms of a craft lager video. The reason why I've done that, the reason why I'm pitting these two beers together today, one being Brooklyn Brewery's Brooklyn Pilsner and of course Brewdog's Lost Lager. Let's show you the beers to the camera first and foremost. Both 660 milliliter bottles. The reason why I'm pitting these two beers together today is because when I first started this channel back in 2010, Brewdog were this tiny little brewery in Ellen in Scotland producing a fantastic beer called Punk IPA. And Brooklyn Brewery were producing a terrific IPA for themselves and a lager, really. Their lager was the big one, Brooklyn Lager, the green label beer. And they were the beers that if you were to order craft beer from an early online craft beer shop like My Brewery Tap, Ales by Mail back in the day, then you probably see a Brewdog and you probably see a Brooklyn Lager. This day and age, of course, fast forward to 2023, Brewdog are a massive company now, independent still, but a massive company, and they're pushing their lager. I think it's a very interesting and a good thing to do. I think it's a good thing to do for Brewdog to push lager, because I think lager is probably the final frontier for a lot of these craft brewers, and Brooklyn are doing the same. But the difference with Brooklyn is that they spotted that opportunity back in 2010, maybe even earlier, before I got into craft beer, with their Brooklyn Lager. But of course, this is Brooklyn Pilsner. I said UK versus America. It's really UK versus UK, because Brooklyn Brewery have produced this with Carlsberg Marston's Brewing Company, and it's actually brewed in the UK. So let's get these beers out then into a glass and see what we get. Let's start off with the Brewdog Lost Lager. Again, a good thing for Brewdog to do. It's not a new beer. It's been out a number of years. I think the direction of any craft brewer, once they get to a certain size, I think that direction will slowly kind of turn into producing good quality lager. I like a good quality lager now, where years ago I didn't. The channel used to be, still is, Real Ale Craft Beer, but I'm a massive lager fan these days, as long as it's a good lager. The other thing is that I'm using these German style pint glasses. So the Brewdog beer then has been poured out into a three-finger whitehead, straw golden coloured lager, there we go. Lager with good carbonation rolling up the middle of the glass. And the Brooklyn Lager, let's pour this one. Both of these beers available in Tesco. They're probably available in the other large supermarkets as well. I bought these as part of a deal, so you can buy 3 bottles for £5.50. So the beer that I bought, the third beer, was a bottle of Kronbacher, because that's probably my favourite on-the-shelf supermarket lager at the moment. So we got a 2-finger white head on this beer, good levels of carbonation rolling up the glass. It's a lovely looking beer, straw coloured. Let's show it up against Brewdog's beer. Very similar actually. Let me get this, a little bit of condensation on the glass. I want to try and be as fair as I can to these two breweries. There we go. So I would say almost identical in colour. If anything, the Brooklyn Lager is slightly darker, and I mean slightly darker, but there's not much in it at all. Brewdog's coming in at 4.5% ABV. The Brooklyn Pilsner, I should say, I should stop calling it lager. The Brooklyn Pilsner is coming in at 4.6% ABV. So let's get the aroma then on the Brewdog Lost Lager. This is going to be interesting because I've drunk an awful lot of good quality lagers these days from the supermarkets, and these are the British kind, or the British version that's independent on that shelf. That smells okay, actually. I'm nodding my head here in absolute approval. That's got a bit of character to it. There's a little bit of lemon, there's a little bit of spiciness coming through. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Kronbacher, you know. That smells good. That smells really good. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. That's all right. That's all right. That's pretty tidy. That's pretty solid. That's nice. I like that. I like that. I'm getting quite excited for a Brewdog beer. Yes, it's still pulling now. It's got a lovely bitterness on the back end from the hops that they've used in the beer. If I was to guess, there would definitely be German or Czech style hops here. Either some Saaz or some Hallertau coming through. Really spicy, peppery, nice bitterness coming through on the beer. And that's quite a thing for Brewdog, isn't it? Because if anybody remembers Punk IPA when it first came out, it had a rampaging bitterness on it. It was really kind of interesting and good. Really interesting and good. And this is a really interesting lager, because I reckon I could pit this. I reckon I could pit this Brewdog Lost Lager against a Kronbacher or a Warsteiner. A couple of really big, solid breweries from Germany. Maybe even Paulaner's Munich Helles. Nice grainy, malty, biscuity taste coming through at the beginning. Peppery and spicy and a bitterness on the back end. A little bit of lemon going on. I tell you, that is good. That's good lager. I like that. Right. Carlsberg Marston's Brewing Company. Contract brewed Brooklyn Pilsner. UK brewed. Good carbonation. 2-finger white head. Let's get the aroma. Much sweeter. Much sweeter in terms of the... It almost smells like a shandy. But slightly musty, peppery, spicy. Let's dive into the Brooklyn Pilsner. A very different beer. Very different straight away. It's much more floral compared to the Brewdog Lost. Much more of a floral, kind of lemony, slightly limey, grainy, sweet, biscuity, peppery, spicy, bitter on the back end. This might be my toughest battle yet in terms of splitting these beers by these two breweries. I mean, wow. They both have their own kind of skill set, if you like. They're both really good quality lagers in their own right. They're not the same. They're definitely not the same. Brewdog doing something over there. Brooklyn doing something over there. I tell you what I will say at this stage of the review is that if you're in Tesco, or if you're thinking about buying a 3 for $5 deal in Tesco of these 660ml beers, then you probably want to buy a bottle of Brewdog Lost and a bottle of Brooklyn Pilsner, just for the variety, just to mix things up a little bit. They're both very different, but they're both very good lagers. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised in one bit. They both got good heritage behind them. They both got really intelligent owners. James Watt of Brewdog and the wonderful, I had his name then and it went, Garrett Oliver in New York, in America. They both know what they're doing. I mean, in an ideal world, Brooklyn would have their kind of own brewery here in the UK. But the cost of that would be just astronomical, wouldn't it? Or in an ideal world, Brooklyn would brew all of their beer in their New York brewery and ship it kind of over to the UK. But that's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. Their brewery is not big enough to produce all of this Pilsner for the UK and the American market. So as long as Mr. Oliver, Garrett Oliver, has come over, he's worked with Carlsberg Marston Brewing Company. He's made sure the recipe's spot on. It's as close as it can be to the New York version of this beer. Then it's the only way. It's the only way to do it, really, isn't it? It's to contract brew it. But I like it. I do. It's nicely carbonated, really drinkable. Good stuff. Good stuff. So, I'm gonna have to try and pick a winner here. It's really tough because I think the Brewdog Lost Lager is more akin to a German style Pilsner. It's definitely got that kind of inspiration from Germany. It's got nice malt quality to it. It's dry, it's spicy, it's peppery, it's got a nice bitterness on the back end. I really like that. I'm going to say 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 for the Brewdog Lost Lager. Really solid lager. Let's see if they have used... I mentioned Saaz, didn't I? Saaz and maybe Hallertau. They're not. Unfortunately, they're not going to give it, I don't think. Just ingredients: water, malted barley, yeast and hops. So they're not going to give out the hops in the beer. So Lost Lager, 8 out of 10. Brooklyn Pilsner. So good. Both of these beers. I didn't think when I was just in Saturday morning, me and the wife went to Tesco. I thought, I know, I'll do that one and that one. I pulled them both down off the shelves. I didn't realise these two beers were going to give me such a headache in this review. I thought well, actually, I didn't know which one was going to win. But honestly, I think the Brooklyn Lager the Brooklyn Pilsner, sorry, is definitely a little bit more floral, but it's still got a lovely bitterness on the back end. I like that one too. This is insane. Oh. Blimmin' heck. I can't split them. Can't split them. Brewdog lost. Oh, it's delicious. Really delicious, biscuity. There's more of a biscuitiness coming through on the Lost Lager. Much more of a delicious kind of biscuity, lovely, malty flavour coming on. And the Brooklyn Pilsner is slightly kind of dumbed down in that maltiness, in that malt flavour. But it's got a little bit more of like a floral kind of hop flavour coming through. But they both got fantastic bitterness to the beer. They're both proper Pilsners. Oh. I think I'm going to give it to I'm going to give the Brooklyn Pilsner an equal 8 out of 10. So Lost Lager had an 8 out of 10 from me. Brooklyn Pilsner's had an 8 out of 10 from me. But in terms of if I was to have to pick a beer going forward, desert island thing going on, out of the two beers, I think I would choose the Brewdog Lost. It's just a little bit more, it's got pure in terms of the grains. You're picking the grains up a little bit more in the taste. And I think that's the only thing that wins it for me. So I hope you liked the video. It turned out much more interesting than I ever imagined that it would be. I really enjoyed producing that. I really enjoyed making that. Thanks for watching. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.